Welcome to the Mike on Much podcast. I'm your host, Mike Vierman. I'm here with my friend and trusted producer, Max Kerman. Max, how's it going?
Great. Well, pretty good.
Okay, we'll keep that. That seemed ominous. We are also here with Intern Erika. We are unfortunately without our great friend and pop culture aficionado, Shane Cunningham. This will actually come into play down the road in this episode as well, because we have a very unique dessert. We, full disclosure to the listeners, we recorded the dessert just before we're doing the opening. We did a little bit of in reverse.
Yeah, it's really good though. It's fun.
Yeah,
good bit idea from Shane.
It's a great bit idea from Shane, and he is sick as a dog, and that's why he's not here. Otherwise, he would have loved to host. What we had is, I guess, our second dating game with our now friends, Bethan and Cody, who came in from Ottawa to be on it in person, because if you listened a few episodes ago, we did it, but we lost the footage. So it was nice to redo it there, and they delivered.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, very charming, very funny.
Yeah, that's a good tease. So stick around for the dessert. Today on the show, our main guest is Virginia Hanlon Grohl, the mother of rock star, living legend to some, David Grohl. She has a book out called From Cradle to Stage, Stories from the Mothers Who Rocked and Raised Rock Stars. If you listen to this podcast, you know that I was fortunate enough to do moderate a Q&A with Dave Grohl and Virginia Hanlon Grohl at CMW, Canadian Music Week. Maxie was there. Go back a couple episodes. You can listen all about it. This was the interview we did the day before that, and it was a really great conversation. We'll get to Virginia in a bit, talk a bit about her book. Before that, I feel like I'm on one. I'm jacked up. Do I feel like I'm talking fast right now?
You have for about the past. How long have the Raptors been in the playoffs?
Well, I do feel good, and I did see a tweet the other day about is this a basketball pod? And the answer to that is, for the foreseeable future, while the Raptors are still alive and well in the playoffs, yes, it is.
It is, but we're not getting into the X's and O's, people. So if you're interested in the idea of love and what it means to truly feel something, that's what this podcast really is, because that's what we're all experiencing right now as Raptors fans.
Absolutely.
So don't be scared away.
Yeah.
Because right now it's a truly joyous time in the city of Toronto. This weekend was insane. I got to watch Game 7. Was it Game 6?
Game 6,
yeah. At your building.
Yeah.
You weren't there, though.
No, so we got together for Game 5. I don't think we've recorded a pod since then.
Okay.
We were going to, but we got kind of drunk that night, and then you called it off. You said, no pod tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
We were supposed to do a Friday morning one, I think, because it was a Thursday night game.
When I called it off, I texted Shane, and he's like, is Mikey having a couple? Is that why it's been called off? I said, no, Mike was down to do it. I made the executive decision. There was a few other things that got in the way of
totally.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you made it clear, because I said
you're ready to go?
I said, I'll do it. I'll get up. I said, I might still be drunk, but I will do it. So that was the game. That was the game 5 in Philly. There's like a party room on the roof of my building. So I had a bunch of people over. Maxie came. He brought his dad. He brought his buddy Dan. Brought his buddy Matt.
Yeah,
We had a
childhood
good crew.
friends that have loved the Raptors from the beginning.
Yeah.
And my dad. My dad, put a basketball hoop up in our backyard. We went to games in the '95 season. We shared season tickets with a few other families up in the 300s during the height of the Vince era. My dad grew up loving basketball. He's from New York City. We have that bond, and so to be there, all of us watching hoops together, that night was awesome. And then it only got better.
Well, that was like the appetizer for what was to come on Saturday, which was Game 6, and I was fortunate enough to get a ticket to Game 6. So
how'd you get it?
So this is actually an interesting story. So my good friend Jimmy, who you've met, he gave me a hot tip, because he always buys single tickets, right? He's like, listen, there's going to be a pre-sale at this time, and this is going to happen. So before the series even started, they all went live, and he said, if you go online now, you can get pre-sale tickets to the later games that aren't guaranteed, like Game 6. Obviously, because you're guaranteed the first 2 at home, and then obviously if they win in Milwaukee, they have to come back for 6. I was able to get third row in the 300s for $156 before the series started. It was a single, it was by myself, and so I was super excited to be going to that game, which was interesting, and I'm going to talk a bit about that experience. But for that game, you watched it again in the same place on the roof, because as listeners know, Dan Hamilton and I live in the same building, so Dan booked the viewing room, the party room,
the rec room with
the rec room. It's got a TV.
Yeah,
so you guys, all of our friends were there on the roof of the building watching this monumental, historic moment in Toronto sports.
And it was awesome. We all were pretty superstitious. I wore the same outfit that I wore to the game that I went to, because we won that game.
The shot, yeah.
Not the shot, because I went with Mike D to game.
Oh, game, the not the double overtime one, the one after that.
Yeah, the blowout.
Game 4, yeah.
So I wore the same outfit, and then it wasn't working though, because the Raptors were down, and so I was drinking vodka sodas. Okay, that's not working. I got to go to beer now, And then when they start to make a run, I was in a particular seat, and I was like, I'm not moving from this place. Like, if anybody like fucked up the feng shui of the room, I was like, get back to your spot.
Yeah, boy.
It's kind of, and you really feel like you have a part in the success of the team.
I was talking about this with Danica. You know why that is? Because I do the same thing. I'll
Yeah.
wear the same things on game days. And I was saying this in general. Like, one of the things that's so weird about basketball is I was like, that game ended up being sort of like this monumental day that I had no direct control or hand in the result. Like, on my wedding day, I was there. For my child, I was a part of it.
Yeah.
The Raptors, I have no real part in it. So the only thing you can control is these weird superstitious bullshit things. It's like you thinking that you're having a part in something that you ultimately have no control over. And I've said that, like, I find that really difficult to deal with, because if I'm moderating something or I'm in an interview, if I'm involved, I feel comfortable because I have a hand in how the outcome is going to be. The Raptors is completely out of my control.
Such a roller coaster of emotions.
That's sports.
So that's why we do these weird things. You sit in that spot. You sit in that spot. Oh, you fucked it up by pulling out your phone. You know what I mean? Because we think we're controlling something with which we have no control over.
Yeah. And it was awesome. It was a bunch of the Hamilton pals and their wives came in. Dave Friesen, a friend of ours, who I went to McMaster with and lived in 85 Arkell, who I played intramural basketball with. He was there. And it was incredible. I mean, we all know what happened, but like watching the game itself.
Spoiler alert, they won. They won the finals.
But the craziest thing was, we're all celebrating and hugging each other when the final buzzer. And also, you don't want to start celebrating until the buzzer has rang. Like, even though the game was basically out of reach in the last 10 seconds and there's some fouls.
Lots can happen.
Superstition etiquette would require nobody celebrate before the buzzer goes.
If anybody starts getting too cocky, you shut the fuck up. We have not won yet. But then we open the doors to go out onto the patio, which is the top floor of the building. It's 19 floors. And we just like begin to hear just like the sounds of people cheering and cars honking. And we look over, and literally in the intersection of John and King, people are jumping and celebrating in the middle of the streets, and then they disperse quite peacefully when the light changes. And then when the light changes back, they go right back into the middle and start jumping and celebrating. And dancing. And this happened at seemingly every intersection in the downtown core for the next 3 hours. And what I love the most is that Toronto police reported that 0 arrests were made. Yeah. So it was really the most like joyful celebration that could exist when it comes to a sports victory. It was so fucking cool the way that the city showed up and did it the right way.
Totally.
Erika, where'd you watch?
I watched at my house. My 2 little brothers came down for the weekend with their 3 of their friends. So there's 5 17-year-olds watching with me. That was fun though. They're all very entertaining, and my one brother Jack, the one who I mentioned in the previous episode.
Hickey Jack.
Hickey Jack.
Hickey Jack, yeah. He's very entertaining. He's quite the dancer. He's quite the showman. So he was getting really into it.
Yeah, you got cool moves. So
good.
it seems like all the Dreyer kids can move.
Jack and I are pretty similar.
Speaking of moves, we posted some video footage of your birthday. Did you get any DMs from that? Because people were messaging the Mike on Much thing being like, fuck yeah. Like they were all really enjoying your bravado singing karaoke.
I didn't get any DMs, but I also haven't been fired from any of my other jobs.
Okay.
That was your concern.
Big win.
Yeah.
Hey, did not to digress here, but how did Jack react to us divulging his personal?
Max, his name is Hickey Jack.
Hickey Jack.
How did that go?
He was trying to act like Mr. Cool. He was like, whoa. He came into my house on Saturday. He's like, yeah, Erika, I listened to the pod. He's like, just so you know, like, these aren't the first hickeys I've ever had. I was like, okay, I'm going to stop you right there. That's enough.
Wow, Jack.
I know.
You guys have some swag.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really do. No, I'm into it.
You're the first person who's ever said that.
Yeah, you guys got
We're
something
all
special.
Lanky, awkward, I think.
No, but when you get going.
When we
you
get
really
going,
get
yeah.
going. So, Mike, tell us about your experience.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people listen to this podcast and people in my life know that the Raptors are something that I have been sort of obsessed with for the last, 2 decades. I love the team. I love the sport. I love NBA basketball. And I went to this game, and everything about that day was very interesting because Danica and Winnie, they went back to Hamilton because they were staying over at my father-in-law's because she had some stuff to do as well. So I kind of really had this day to myself in the city, and I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I couldn't sleep when I woke up in the morning. It was like Christmas. Like I was like, oh my God, 8:30 is so far away until tip-off.
I love this shit.
So I was like, I'm gonna clean the apartment because I can do that. And that will take my mind off things, and I'll listen to music that I love. I listened to like 3 Beatles records.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was just like feeling good. And it was a rainy day, and I was like, oh, I don't like these vibes. And the sun would peek out, and so then I go up and I see Dan and my brother who are on the roof, and I'm like, guys, good luck, love you all.
It's like you're going to war. Or something.
Seriously. And then I started walking to the arena, and I put on What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis, that record. But that when that specific song came in, like that, bam, 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 it's like All Your Dreams Are Made. I was walking, and it was like I was surrounded by Raptors people going to the game. It was like we were all on this sort of like collective mission.
Had the rain cleared up at this point yet?
It had cleared up for my walk.
Because leading into, there's all this amazing
torrential downpour.
Yeah, and people were waiting to get into Jurassic Park. And everyone's like, oh, fuck, this is going to really ruin the vibes. Because that's been such a big part of the Toronto story. It's like everybody's showing up. But, the sky's cleared.
So I get to the arena, and I settle in, and I have a couple to my left, a couple to my right, because I got a single ticket. But I go to basketball games. I've gone to a ton by myself in the past. Like, when the Raptors were shitty, I would literally, like, after work, I would just buy a single ticket, go, because I wanted to see, like, say, Dirk with Dallas or someone from the other team, because our team wasn't very watchable at times. So I'm used to doing that, and I'll get very vocal in the game, and I usually make friends with whoever's around me. I don't mind being alone and trying to make new friends. So I'm making friends with the couples. I have these three bros in front of me that actually knew their hoops really well. I felt like the couples were like Toronto sports fans. But they were like, the one woman was very drunk but very lovable. She's like, the refs are fucking us. And I was like, well, I don't disagree, but you know what I mean? These things tend to even out, but we are getting a bad whistle right now. But it was like you could tell the crowd was getting very like Toronto, woe is me. Like they don't want Canada to advance sort of deal, which I don't really have a lot of patience for that. But they were great. The bros in front of me knew their shit, and I was like calling out coverages. Like at one point, like Kawhi came and I won't get too into the X's and O's, but Gasol had to like drop to the corner. I'm like, Gasol needs to go. I'm like, hit Gasol for three. Play develops exactly how I called it out, and then that was like when everybody like in my section was like,
oh, we have a basketball savant amongst us.
Yeah, exactly. And then so like anyway, and then it was just like a really fun thing, and like you become friends with the people in the crowd. The energy in the building was insane. Like it was the loudest I've ever experienced. When Kawhi had that dunk that capped the big run in the fourth, like my God, like it shook, and you start to kind of allow yourself to maybe believe they're going to pull it off. There was actually a moment where I went to the bathroom in the between the third and the fourth quarter, and I was like, well, I'm going to get one more beer, because if you don't know, at an NBA game, you have to get the beer before the fourth quarter starts. And I was like, this could be it, man. Like,
this could be the final beer
I want a beer.
Drink.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I kind of had to go to the bathroom. So I buy my big Coors Light, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to the bathroom. I look, and there's a lineup. And I go, damn it. I'm like, I'm going to hold it. And then I said to myself, no, you're not going to hold it, because they're going to be having an Eastern Conference Championship ceremony, and you're going to want to see every fucking minute of that. So you wait, and you give up the first minute and a half of the fourth quarter, because you know you're going to be witnessing history.
But were you like, I shouldn't have had that thought because maybe the thought jinxed it? I know you never say that out loud.
No. I then the confidence that they're going to win this means you're allowing yourself to lose a minute and a half at the start of the fourth.
Yeah, that was confident. They were down going into the fourth,
That's
too,
right.
weren't they?
And they're in the midst of a run. But anyway, so I did that, and then I was able to go the distance. I guess ultimately to sort of like bring it back to one of the things that I thought was interesting about being there was it was amazing to experience it, and I'm glad I experienced it. But I found myself kind of missing you guys. I did. I was thinking all my friends are like watching this, and they're like losing their minds, and I'm experiencing something wholly unique. There's only 20,000 of us that got to witness that. You know, that's 20,000 people out of like over 6 million people watched on TV. Yeah. So I'm part of a unique group that saw something in person. But because I've only ever seen the championship trophy for the Eastern Conference handed out on TV, they hand it to LeBron, they hand it to Steph Curry, whatever. It almost didn't feel as real. It would have felt more real, weirdly, if I was watching it on TV with you guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I found myself, like, even though I was hugging strangers and stuff, and there was a communal sense of love, I found myself thinking, like, oh, it'd be so fun to be with my brother and with Maxie and with Shawnee and all these guys, Julian, everyone that was at the apartment at Dan Hamilton, and just hugging. And I was like, I kind of feel like I learned something here that I'm going to carry over.
Yeah,
to
the
finals.
company is so important. Obviously, to be in the building is super special. But you're totally like, I didn't feel that I was missing out by not being in the building.
Exactly.
I really felt so fortunate to be around the people I love that love the Raptors as much as me.
I needed to do it for myself, though. I needed to experience it, and it was unique, and I've invested a lot of time in this team. So, what were you going to say?
Go ahead.
Well, this is sort of the last part of my experience, which was amazing, before I meet up with you guys, and that's a whole other thing. So I'm messaging with the nut because he's there, and he's just like he's literally on cloud nine. Like, I was like, what's up, man? Like, we're going to go meet the guys. Like, should I kind of hang around? I don't know. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just like so fucking happy right now. Like, I'm so filled with this visceral feeling of fucking joy. Like, I can't, and people are celebrating, and everyone's hugging. And so I put my little AirPods in, and I walked out into the streets. You know, this is like a good, like, I don't know, 40 minutes after the game, because I watched the ceremony, I watched the speeches, they handed out the trophy, and I walk into the streets, and the streets, as everyone has seen, is bedlam. But not scary, just joy. I was putting on my Insta story, and I put my headphones in, and I walked through it. I walked all the way down Front Street, which was jammed. There was women dancing on cars. Everything was at a standstill. People were jumping out of cars, running around in circles, hugging other people, and it was packed, but it was moving. And I put my headphones on, and I played Only in Dreams by Weezer as I walked that stretch. And it was like a cinema. And here's the crazy thing.
You felt like you were in a movie?
I did, because here's the other thing. Because it had rained and the weather was so weird that night,
it really
created
misty.
a fog.
Yeah.
There was like a mist. It was like the fog of war after a crazy battle. I'm not. This is not.
Must have been so
hyperbole.
cinematic looking.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And so I'm just walking, and I'm like, yeah. Like you're just yelling random shit, like fuck yeah, and people are like, yeah, buddy.
High-fiving strangers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the greatest. And I was almost like I was in a daze, and I was making my way toward you guys, like the group at the apartment, and like just the fog and the lights from the headlights and people dancing in the streets, and it's just being shoulder to shoulder, but never like pushy or grabby like at a concert. It was just like it's like everybody was working together in concert to make it feel like this really amazing thing. And then I got up to you guys on the roof, and we were watching the people keep joining the intersection. And
well, when we were watching, like as I said, a lot of basketball fans in that room, but all of us said out loud, I can't wait for Mike to get back. Like no, honestly, because we were so happy for you. Like I'm a huge Raptors fan, but like the win meant just as much, like knowing that you were in the building and you got to experience, like meant just as much as anything else.
Totally.
Like you specifically. And then my other favorite moment of the night, or probably my favorite moment of the night on a personal level, is seeing you come through the door and then you and your brother embrace.
Yeah.
And it was the nicest. It was really the sweetest thing. You guys gave each other a big hug, and I know you guys have had a tough year up to this point, and you are very deserving of some good news. So this is the best fucking news
It was it's funny, like my phone blows up like literally like more so than when I like had a kid or got married. Like my phone, and I didn't speaking of superstition, I didn't take my phone out in the fourth quarter because they started doing like they were on a run. I didn't want to look at my phone. I didn't want to jinx it.
Yeah.
So when I pulled it out, I had like 100 messages. But one of the things that was bittersweet is like one of the guys that loved arguing about the Raptors with you was my dad, and I was like, fuck, it would have just been nice for me to be like, I told you the DeRozan trade was good. I know my dad's like, DeRozan was loyal. I can't believe Masai did that. And we had this hilarious ongoing thing throughout the season. And the one text that I really did miss, or he probably would have called me and just been like, I can't believe it, son.
Yeah.
Like he would have been so happy
because he was a big sports fan.
Oh
like,
my God.
The affection that you have for the Raptors, he had for the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely.
And that's probably where you get your insane fandom from at a certain level.
Yeah. But it was bittersweet. And my brother, I could tell, had a few drinks because he texted me immediately, I love you, brother. And it was really nice.
Yeah, he posted a photo, and his caption was like, this is Mike's day. Everything about this day is for Mike.
It was really sweet. We're walking through that door, and I burst through the door to the roof, and then you guys are all like, yeah! It was like, it was a fucking moment, and I'll never forget it, and it was great. And I called Danica, and I was talking to her, like, it was just like, it was amazing.
Yeah, and obviously we want to do on the finals, but there's this sense in Toronto, it's just like, you know what? Like, if we get swept or whatever, it's like, this is still the fucking best.
It's history.
Like
it's enough.
It's enough. Like, and if Kawhi leaves, like, thank you for blessing us with this season and that moment, or the various moments throughout the playoffs. Then we all went out afterward, and the whole city was just like, we went out, and then I ended up at home. But I was so excited to wake up the next morning and just go find a patio, because I looked at the weather before I went to bed. I was like, oh, it's going to be like 20 degrees. It's going to be sunny. Lauren had worked overnight, so she was going to be sleeping the whole day, so I had some time to myself. I was like, I'm going to ride my bike down to King Street or downtown somewhere, find like a Starbucks or something with a patio, and just like consume as much NBA Twitter and the recaps as possible. And it was the best. And then I was like, there's a guy in the coffee shop with the Raptors jersey on. We're making conversation. I'm walking down the street. I'm giving a high five to another dude with a Raptors shirt. Like, the whole city was so happy. And I think the whole city's been happy.
Yeah.
For the last, since it happened, right? Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's amazing how much joy this can bring to a city.
I find myself sitting and just staring off into the distance, thinking about moments over the last 3 weeks, like how things unfolded, like special basketball moments. Like, it is so unique to sort of be in this position. You know what I mean? This town hasn't had a lot of winners. You know what I mean? I know TFC won recently, but the Leafs have historically let people down. The Raptors have, been on and off a joke to the larger league, and even to this city at times. It's been like the sort of ugly stepbrother. Maxie, we've tried to go to bars and get the Raptors audio on, and they're like, nope, there's like a Tampa Bay Vancouver game going on right now, and we're not going to put the audio up.
Yeah.
that's the way it's been for like 20 years. And it's like, it just really felt special. And I was also saying to Danica, like, it really does feel like it belongs to everybody now. It's kind of been our thing.
Yeah.
And I know that's a stupid thing to say about the Raptors, but I think Raptors fans have a bit of a cult mentality. It's like, when you meet one.
I was going to say, on that note, obviously not, but like when you see all the quote-unquote bandwagoners, such as the me's of the world, who are just like getting on this now because it's so much fun and like you can't resist, who like literally, I'm sorry, didn't watch a Raptors game until playoffs started.
Yeah.
Are you kind of like, hey, like, is your nose kind of up? You're kind of like, you don't know what's going on.
No, the more the merrier.
More the merrier.
Yeah, I don't get that.
It makes the city really fun.
And I think that's the difference between, like, perhaps maybe just you guys, but like Raptors fans and other sports fans. Because I can only fucking imagine if the Leafs were doing so well right now and like people were trying to hop in. I don't know.
Well, how do you think Leafs fans would react?
I'm not a Leafs fan, so I might be biased, but like they're kind of obnoxious. I think they would kind of be like,
think there'd be zero arrests.
Oh, you weren't cheering for the Leafs all year. Now you want to cheer for the Leafs, like blah blah blah. As opposed to just being like, yeah, get the fuck in here and like cheer and like jump on board and like blah blah blah.
Well, the cool thing also about all this happening in the city is that if you're a person that's addicted to Twitter like me, it's like you're just bombarded by just sort of negative news stories all day long about just like people acting shitty to each other.
Yeah.
But what's happened with this Raptors run is that it's really highlighting what a beautiful multicultural city Toronto is, and how the Raptors have brought people together. You see, there's a great photo of fans in Jurassic Park, and it's like every different kind of person is there, and the team has brought them all together. There's been that great thread that came out today about Nav, the super fan, and Steve Kerr, the coach of the Golden State Warriors, shared it. He said, "This is a great thread. Like this is what like being a great fan is all about." Yeah, and there's also the Star did an article about different Raptors fans from around the GTA. So there's a grandma in Orangeville. There's like a East Indian basketball league, I believe. There's like a women's basketball league in the East End. It's like all these examples of just how this game brings people together. And I just it feels so good that we can talk about something positive in that way.
That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, bringing people together.
Yeah, and. Yeah, I pulled up some old drawings that we referenced on the Michael Mudd show, but of like
on Crave, subscribe,
on Crave,
watch all 8 episodes.
Yeah, and I posted them on our Insta story, on the Arkells Insta story. But yeah, like I've been drawing pictures as a kid of Damon Stoudemire and Vince Carter, from 20 years ago now. So I have to update it.
And what did I text you?
You text me. It's a great idea. I have to work on a Kawhi.
I said, Max, you need to go get some pencil crayons right now and draw a Kawhi. The people would love it. I want to see like a Max Kerman original from 1999 compared to the Max Kerman original from 2019.
It's definitely gotten worse though, because I haven't
the
actually.
The 1999 ones were good. I saw them on your Insta. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I haven't, I used to draw all the time. I think a lot of kids do, but I haven't actually tried to draw.
I think it would be good to reconnect. I think it'd be a fun exercise.
Yeah, you really should.
Yeah.
I don't think kids draw anymore.
No, they're just on their iPads
Probably.
and shit. Making like rap beats and stuff.
Not Winnie though.
Not Raptors, rap
Make
beats.
sure Winnie draws.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. Well, I drew a lot as a kid also, as you can see on the Crave show if you subscribe to Crave. But the Raptors are in the NBA Finals. I didn't know if I was ever going to get to say that or see it in my lifetime. These things are rare, especially if you follow the league as closely as we do. You realize that like these things are cyclical, and you need a generational talent to sort of get you there. And it's a confluence of events that makes a team good enough to make the finals. And shockingly, we are one of them now, and history can't take that away.
And the last thing I'll say is it's really fun to see the national media, like from the States, cover Toronto now. So like there's all these like publications where, like The Ringer or Sports Illustrated or whoever that don't typically talk about the Raptors much, but they're all like, I guess we're all going to Toronto. Let's check out this place. And it's fun. Like you feel like you're, the king of the party.
And the footage looked great on TV. Like the fans, like all of the footage that came out of the night of Jurassic Park and that stretch all the way down Bremner, like it looks amazing. Like it's like you really do go, fuck, it's a special city, man. And there's a certain sort of like vibe here that people really get.
Yeah, didn't Charles Barkley give us a big shout out?
Oh, yeah, he loves Toronto. Yeah. All those NBA guys love Toronto.
Nice.
Even if we're not winning, they like coming here.
Yeah.
It's a fun place to party.
It's awesome.
It was a great night. It was a magical time. And on to game 1 on Thursday. You going, Max?
I haven't.
You gonna pull some moves?
Apparently, it's impossible. I imagine like every person who's looking for a favor has already asked. I don't know.
I heard $50K for courtside seats.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Was thrown around today. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to sell some more pod merch, I guess.
We can't keep giving it away for free like that.
Yeah. Okay, guys, let's talk about Virginia Hanlon Grohl. Maxie, you joined us for this interview.
Yeah, lovely lady.
Very lovely.
She's a teacher. Kind of reminded me of my mom to a certain degree. Like an English teacher. Definitely an incredible vantage point. Just like, how many people have been in her shoes to have,
Absolutely.
a son who turns out to be the biggest musician, or one of the biggest musicians in the world.
There was a lot to talk about in this book. I did read a bunch of this book, and it's actually really kind of a cool format. I think it's like a perfect sort of like coffee table book because she interviews the mothers of a lot of big musicians and superstars, people like Dr. Dre,
Amy
Winehouse's mother, all sorts of people, like Michael Stipe's mother, one of the Beastie Boys. I think it was Mike D, maybe from the Beastie Boys. It's funny because like I'm looking at the thing now, and it's like it's all the mothers' names, like the Himes, their mother, Donna Haim. It's pretty impressive. And what's cool about it is throughout her interviews in these sections with the other mothers of these sort of successful musicians, she has little vignettes where it'll be like vignette 1, the conversation, and she'll talk about when Dave basically says he wants to drop out of school and go on tour across America and into Europe. Vignette 2, my friend Wendy, and she explains why Kurt Cobain's mom, Wendy, isn't in the book. And she explains the first time they went to New York City to see Nirvana play SNL. Yeah. And so you get these sort of firsthand recollections of her sort of view of those seminal moments in Dave's career. So anyway, I thought it was a clever way to sort of approach a book like this. And I thought she was very open. It was a cool conversation.
Yeah.
Want to get to Virginia Hanlon Grohl?
Let's do it.
Check out the book From Cradle to Stage, stories from the mothers who rocked and raised rock stars.
One funny thing that happened when we got to meet Dave at the event that you hosted was he was like, all right, let's go sell some books. Yeah. Like just before they were about to hit the stage. And I just thought, like, you know what? Like, no, even if you're Dave Grohl, you're like, we got to move some more units right now. Yeah. Like, I just thought it was like a funny thought.
Yeah. All right, let's get to Virginia.
Let's get into it. And I know you have a busy day.
I guess I do. Yeah.
You know, you're sort of the star now. You're the popular one. You're the one that everybody's talking to. You're doing the press junket. Is this a unique feeling?
It's a little strange. Yeah. I'm more used to watching these than doing them, but it's fun. I like to travel, and I've enjoyed the places we've gone.
I should also mention Mike is moderating the live talk tomorrow. It's the hottest ticket of Canadian music.
It is the hottest ticket. Everybody.
Is it really?
Yeah,
seriously, people keep messaging me and DMing me like, Mikey, can you get me in? I'm like, man, I'm lucky.
Really?
Yeah. People are very excited about it.
Yeah. Oh, I better prepare.
No, you're just talking to your son. Mike's moderating it, but that'll be a piece of cake.
I know, and we've done this a couple times. It's not really. He's not really interviewing me. We just sort of sit down and start to talk. So there are always surprises.
Yeah.
There may be a confession or two.
Oh.
I have to be prepared for those. And I just never know what it's going to be.
You know, I just saw Michelle Obama speak at the arena on the weekend. And she has a different moderator for most of these events. But it allows the conversation to be just really, really loose. It's usually somebody she knows and she's friends with. Mm-hmm. So it just has such like a loose feel, like talking to someone at a pub or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's nice. It is nice. Mm-hmm. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
Even with people looking at you. So.
Do you and Dave, when you do these, do you have fallback bits, though, where it's like, oh, I know where he's going here?
Actually, we have never prepared 1 second.
Wow.
We don't have notes. We don't have topics. We just sit down and start talking. So we get along well. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
that's a benefit.
so far.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, we'll see about this one, but it's easy. We do it that way, and it seems to be more appealing to the audience than a speech or
stiff Q&A.
Which I've also done speeches and. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, I wanted to start, sort of go back a bit, because in the preface of the book, you talk about your own love of music, sort of Motown and Mozart. And your home seemed like a sort of happy place growing up. And I was wondering if music being so prevalent in your home was a conscious choice by you as a parent, meaning like I really want to sort of have my children have music be a rich part of their life, or if it was just natural, meaning like I was going to listen to this music anyway, and I'm glad the kids are enjoying it.
I think it was a natural thing, although once I realized that they were listening, I did make a conscious choice then to try to listen myself to some of the things that they were listening to.
Oh, interesting.
Some of the sounds they were bringing in were foreign to me, and they didn't always love everything I loved. David never caught on to show music. He never liked musicals, and I kept trying.
You know what? You can make a good like Foo Fighters musical. It's some, you know how they make those.
Oh yeah, like I think there's a Green Day one. And
Yeah.
like, they'll take the
That's right.
So he's out on that.
I don't think you should hold your breath on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
I'm
tell
not
the producers
expecting
here in
that.
town to not pitch.
I'm
Okay.
not expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
But and classical he listened to, and he would go with me to some things. And then we went out and listened to jazz almost every weekend. There was this wonderful place in D.C. that called One Step Down, which is gone now. But it was just this narrow. If you were making a movie about an old jazz club, you would do it exactly like this. It was dark and smoky and quiet because you weren't allowed to talk while the music was playing. The music was why you came there. There was a jazz band that started it it was an afternoon thing on Sunday afternoons, and all the musicians who had been in town for gigs somewhere would stop by, so you never knew what you were going to hear. You could hear jazz flute, jazz guitar, jazz singer. You never knew, and it was really fun. So we did that, and then I listened to a lot of heavy metal.
That was the trade-off.
Yeah,
to
you did your
balance
part.
it out.
Well, it's fascinating. One of the things sort of throughout the book, in the vignettes specifically, that becomes apparent is that you're a very sort of, I think you're a very open parent to the idea of like, oh, when he wants to drop out of school, you talk specifically about, school wasn't really serving him and this might be a better education for him
Right.
to see the world. I'm always fascinated when you decide to sort of like do that kind of parenting, because when one becomes a parent, and I just became a parent, you either sort of like do what your parents sort of showed you, or you go, I'm going to do the exact opposite. What were your parents like?
My parents were. I grew up in the 50s. In the 50s, we followed everyone's instructions.
Mm-hmm.
I never had an original thought until I was, I think, 30 years old. Really, you just did what you were told. And that was standard procedure. And it was easy to do what my father told me to do, for the most part. My mother was tough on me. And but that you just did it, that's all. And so then with the 60s and the big freedoms that came out of that period, things changed drastically. So, I mean, things were always evolving, always changing, and you just do the best you can. You just try to figure it out, trying to figure out who is this person, what's this person like. And David's now facing it with his own children. He has a daughter who just turned 13. So he's now having to have conversations on the other side of the spectrum. So
with the book, I mentioned sort of the vignettes. It's an interesting format, so you have.
Thanks.
It's wonderful. I guess I was going to ask sort of process when you were putting this book together. For our listeners, you have your interviews with the other sort of rock star mothers, and then you sprinkle throughout these vignettes that are sort of your perspective on different milestones in Dave's career, and they're super informative, and it's this nice sort of really great way to read it. Was that your idea? Sort of,
I don't remember exactly how that evolved. I knew that there were lots of stories that I wanted to tell. Friends had been telling me for years after I come back from something and say, I met Paul McCartney. And they would say, oh, you have the best life. I wish I had your life. And you should write about it. And so I've always been thinking about that, but I never wanted to do a full-on
like memoir.
No.
Yeah.
So doing little essays, little vignettes suited me just fine. And I don't know at what point I started deciding which ones I should do and where I should put them, but I liked the combination. I loved the writing part of the book. It's the first book I've written, and I taught English for years, so I've been reading other people's writing forever. And I was writing along with my students much of the time, but I loved the whole process. I loved meeting the mothers. That was just joyous. We bonded instantly. Then I loved the lonesome process of sitting by myself and writing and revising. I really enjoyed it.
How was Paul McCartney? You said you met him. Give us your Paul story.
It was a life-changing moment. He was instantly charming.
Yeah.
And we had a very nice conversation, and I've seen him since, and he is he's just a very nice man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you grow up a Beatles fan?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I've heard he is just a pro. I mean, your son is also a pro at making people feel good, but
He is.
Paul knows who he is and the responsibility
Exactly.
he has to the rest of the world,
Mhm.
and really goes out of his way to make people.
And have
feel
you ever
good.
seen one of his shows?
You know what? The Beatles
Paul?
are my favorite band of all time. The Beatles are both of our favorite
I've been
bands of all
twice.
time.
Have you?
I've
I've
seen
never
him here.
been.
Yeah.
And
You
it's-
gotta come
I
with me,
know.
Max.
I gotta go. You know what? Our friend got married, and a Beatles cover band played at it, like wearing the outfits
Right.
and everything. And I kind of happy cried the whole time. like it was just a cover
Imitating
band
the Beatles.
in Hamilton.
He was at the front of the stage crying.
David had a Beatles covered band at his wedding.
Oh, really?
Too. Mhm.
Wow.
You know what?
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea. I would have thought, I was like, hey, maybe we want a little more variety, but then you get those Beatles tunes going. You're just like, no, this is all I
Yeah,
need.
that's all anybody
Yeah.
They
wants.
got the whole catalog. Have you been to a McCartney show?
Yes,
Yeah.
a couple of them, and they are just perfect,
Yeah.
brilliant, from beginning to end. He's a master of the stage, and he just knows how to do it.
Completely agree. You mentioned you love doing all the interviews. How much research did you do going into each one? Because obviously, your experience informs, who you are and how the conversation is going to go with the subject. You guys have a commonality. But did you sort of deep dive on Dr. Dre's mom, or I really want to get into the minutia of how they lived before you talked, or was it more casual?
It was more casual. With Dr. Dre's mom, she had written her biography.
Yeah.
And she'd actually written 2 books, but one was out of print I couldn't find. But I did read her book, and then I read a little bit about him because I wasn't as familiar with the rap community as
Sure.
the rock community. And so I did a little bit of research there. Most of the time, though, when I went in to visit them, we usually headed to the kitchen. We usually had tea, cookies, or snacks of some kind, and I just said, "Tell me your story. What was your life like growing? Where did you grow up?
Did you have a producer with a recorder, or were you just by yourself?
I did have a recorder, and so then I could have transcripts afterwards.
But you were by yourself. You didn't have a team with you, or
I had in the beginning, I had a partner who was Jill Berliner, who was my son's lawyer forever, and still is. She was the one who urged me to write the book in the very beginning. And so we started working together. But her work, she's a music attorney, and she's traveling all the time and way too busy to. So she was with me on the first 3 interviews. She was with Dr. Dre's mom.
Kind of set the tone. You figure out sort of the format, and then
We had very opposite styles. She was really good. I had to learn how to be quiet and listen. I did way too much of the talking. I was supposed to be getting their information, and I was just chatting and telling my own stories. So I learned from her. But most of them were just easy conversations. We hit it off.
Yeah.
We have something in common that we don't have in common with many other people at all.
Yep.
And the fact is we've never met each other.
Yeah, there needs to be a support group for rockstar moms.
I call it a sorority.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
our own sorority. And so, it was fun. And I keep in touch with them, many of them now, and have seen a few of them at shows since. And I can't wait when their sons and daughters are on TV to catch them and send a note. And so it was really fun.
Going back to sort of parenting in and of itself, it's a fascinating sort of. I find sort of, I don't know if it's like attention or like sort of like an operational thing, but when you have 2 children and one is sort of incredibly world famous, and then the other one is sort of a civilian, a normal person.
Right.
How does that inform sort of the way you even sort of approach that dynamic?
It's tough.
Is it?
It is, yeah, because you know that one of them is feeling left out or not as special as, or so it can be tough, and everybody's faced it in different ways, and it depends on how many children in the family too, and how different they are, and whether the other one has any notions of being in theater or
it's a great point,
music,
right.
Or whether
It's
they're
in
just
entertainment, yeah.
really want to go to business school and not pay any attention to it. So it's different.
What does Lisa do?
Well, she has been in the music business of publishing. She's worked for publishing companies. But she's done all kinds of things. She was a pastry chef.
Oh, wow.
She had her own coffee shop down in the Outer Banks of North Carolina for
cool.
a while. Cool. And she's done many. She's very artistic too. She's done a lot of artistic things. So.
What's Dave and Lisa's relationship like?
It varies. They fought every second of their lifetime for about 7 years, the first 7 years maybe, and then became friends later, as they got older.
That happens sometimes as people mature and then they become adults and they find they have more in common than they don't.
Yeah. I'm still meeting new people, and I'm about to meet a woman with a musician son, and then 8 other children. So I'm looking forward to
understand that dynamic.
That perspective.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then another unusual one, and I just saw them again a couple weeks ago. Pharrell's mother, Dr. Williams, has 3 sons, and she had them 10 years apart.
What?
So isn't that, I know.
Each one?
No, come on. Like, you mean like, so it's like she had
Pharrell,
one.
and 10 years later, so Pharrell was sort of an only child for 10 years. And then the second one was born.
And then 10 years later?
Right.
So Pharrell's youngest brother is 20 years younger than him.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's a story.
What does she do? She's a doctor?
She's a doctor of education.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
She's a Virginia Beach,
yes,
right?
Right.
Yeah, local. Yeah.
He just had a festival down there.
Yeah,
we
it's in the Water Festival or something like that. That's cool.
So I got to see her again there.
Oh, awesome.
And him. So, yeah. So there are all kinds of dynamics to family situations that just interesting.
Well, I mean, and that is the fascinating thing because, like you share in the book, there's these great moments. You know, you talk about in one of the vignettes at the Reading Festival where Kurt brings you out on stage and they sing "Happy Birthday" to
right.
you. You know,
yeah,
great moments like that. And I think throughout the book, there's so many sort of interesting aspirational moments that people read about. But what would be something that's difficult? You know, that you would say is about being Dave Grohl's mom that people maybe wouldn't know or think about.
Well, just recently.
Where do I begin? Finally, someone asked me that question.
Getting through an airport with him.
Ah.
Oh, my. We were, where were we? Oh, we were in Texas last week, a week and a half ago. I don't know. Visiting Miranda Lambert and her family. And so we traveled out of Dallas, and then I'm trying to think what other.
Are we talking private jet or are we talking commercial?
No, we're trying commercial.
Okay, cool.
Private jet would solve all these problems if you know anyone.
Yeah. I read an article about Dave that he's frugal though, so that seemed like he wouldn't do that all the time.
Yeah, he's very generous, but he's that's very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's thousands of dollars an hour.
Yeah.
So
pick your spots, only for special occasions.
Yeah. I have traveled privately, and I've asked for a plane every year for my birthday, and so far I haven't. It hasn't happened. But going through an airport he's so friendly, and he's so generous with people that he will stop and talk, and everybody just wants to say hello, and I love this music, and I wanted to, everybody just wants half a second. But it's 1 step forward and 3 steps back, and photo number 1, number 2, number 3. It's tough. Difficult. I haven't had to face scandals and things like others have had to deal with, especially the women, mothers of women in the business. And no, most of it's been fun.
You happen to just be the mother of the most beloved, universally beloved, gregarious rock star, maybe in history. So you have it pretty good.
I do. It's true.
Because anybody else who gets to that level of fame, there would be something that would happen at some point in time where there was a blunder or but
he'd snap at them or something.
Yeah, but
it's not going to happen. I don't foresee it anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, he does make that easy.
Well, you mentioned, that the scandals are for potentially people that are mothers of women in the business. Was there any subject matter when you were talking to the moms that was sort of, I don't know if I'm going to go there, or was everything on the table?
A lot was on the table, but I also told them I'm not trying to write a gotcha book. I'm not going to be looking for scandal. And if you say something while we're chatting, and they all, of course, knew they were on tape, and you change your mind about it, just put that on tape too and say, please don't print that. And I won't. So most of the time we just talked about things that were important to us, but that weren't
salacious or... That's
right.
Yeah, I got you.
And I don't know that that there was that much anyway of anybody that I was talking to. So, and with some I could have written a whole book about some of them.
Of course.
And some of the interviews lasted for a really long time, and some were fairly short. So it just, they were all different.
With, you at one point in one of the vignettes, you talk about how, Dave was in Scream and sort of they're struggling in a van, and then they sort of have this international leap with Nirvana. And you said that's when I get worried, because that's when the money changes and they are literally, they have nothing but time and money.
Right.
That dynamic's interesting to me because we're big NBA fans, and we always talk about the jump from a player that comes from a very impoverished situation and they jump into a different socioeconomic situation.
Right.
Did you find there was a common thread throughout the interviews of people struggling with that money jump?
That was the moment. That was the thing that all the mothers worried about. And depending on the generation of where they were in the 70s, 80s, whatever the drug situation was at the time, how prevalent that was and how terrifying. And so a lot of us made deals with them and said, you've got to make some promises here. I really want you to say, that you will or will not do this. And so, that was the scary time, because with only maybe one exception, these were all middle or lower middle class families, and nobody had a lot of money to compare any kind of famous life of fame with. And also, when David was becoming the musician that he became, he knew his life was going to be in music. Never occurred to him that he'd have any money. That was just never part of the thought process. I think kids now, because of so many changes, want to be rich and famous, and rich comes first. And but it surprised all of us when suddenly he had money. And fortunately, he also had a lot of advisors. He had an accountant, a really good accountant. He's had the same one for years, and a really good lawyer. Yeah. The woman who started the book with me, and so he had good advice from the beginning.
So I'm in a band too, and I lean on my accountant all the time, and I say, can you just tell me, based on my bracket, am I spending too much or spending too little?
Good for you.
Yeah, and and then he gives me a very accountant-like answer, and it's very, very helpful. So, you need those kinds of people around you.
Yeah. I know at one point they said, you need to buy property. He wasn't married. He didn't, he owned nothing because they traveled. He'd been traveling with a backpack and an old van for so long. And so that was his assignment.
You got to diversify your investments a little bit.
He decided to buy a house. He didn't know where he was going to live. So bought a beach house. And that worked out well for everyone.
You got a place to hang.
Still have it?
No,
okay.
sold it. Actually, about the time I moved from D.C. to California, we got rid of. No one was at the beach house any longer.
Where in California are you?
In L.A., in the Valley.
Oh, nice.
Sherman Oaks.
Yeah, cool.
We're all Valley people.
Yeah. It is interesting to sort of, because when people start making music, it's this sort of fun pursuit. You're doing it with your friends. You get the joy out of, I wrote a song, and you kind of, but you're not thinking. It's a different type of mindset, I think, to think about, like you said, diversifying your portfolio. It's like no one told me what a mortgage was. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And then it's like you have to kind of learn these things, but it's like, who wants to take the time to learn that? You're like, I know, I'm writing music. I'm a creative. I'm doing this. And you're sort of forced to, or you're going to be burned or taken advantage of, I think, down the road. Which you hear that all the time as well.
Yeah, the real world can get in your way and give you a lot of worries. But I really, and David, when kids ask him for advice, that is some of his advice is to get good people around you early and listen to them. And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Well, I think we got to wrap it up.
No, this is great.
Yeah, this is amazing.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, likewise. And I'm excited for tomorrow. I guess we kind of started here and I'll end here, but do you like sort of, obviously your son is very famous and he's the center of attention, but this is your time now. This is your book. You're the boss, Applesauce. Are you enjoying the attention?
To a degree, I guess. I think I prefer radio to TV because of the makeup situation. But I'm enjoying it. I enjoy meeting people, and so we'll see. I never know. Each time I go into one of these with David, I have no idea what's going to happen. So ask me later.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it right now. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll see. We'll get to hang tomorrow.
Yeah.
Great.
The Q&A.
Are you going to ask questions?
I think I'll introduce you and Dave, and then I will facilitate the Q&A with the audience.
Great.
So the audience will ask some questions. But,
okay.
Yeah, and if you're like, I don't want to take any more questions, bro, just give me a wink and I'll shut it down.
Okay. That's a deal.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Welcome to the dessert, listeners. Like we mentioned off the top, this is a very unique dessert because, as you know, dessert is not our segment. It is Shane Cunningham's segment, our pop culture aficionado. Max just walked into the segment. He did not know that Shane was not here.
Yeah. I was like, where's Shane? And then you said he's sick.
Yeah.
And then I was like, is he calling in? And then you said, no, Erika's running the damn show.
I sure am.
Yeah. So
this is only my second dessert, and I get to run it.
You're running it. Okay, so why this is so fascinating as well is because it's not just Max and Erika and myself here. We're here with Bethan and Cody. You might remember them from an episode like 10 episodes now. I don't remember. Yeah. They called in from Ottawa. They're a couple that came together on Tinder because they listen to the pod. They're fans of the pod, so they had that commonality, and that's why they're together. We recorded this amazing segment with them that was very funny. There were lots of jokes. It was one of our best segments ever. It was a heartbreaker, and the gear screwed up. Now we have Erika on the gear, but unfortunately what we don't have is Shane Cunningham. So this morning, the texts are flying around in our little pod group. We're planning out tonight. Shane has been in contact with Cody and Bethan, and they're in from Ottawa. This is the only time we could do it, but Shane's like, I'm sick as a dog. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
Yeah, he said it was the chills. He said it's where you feel really cold, but you're sweating. That kind of gross stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Thank you for coming all the way from Ottawa.
Thank you for having us.
Yep, it's a true pleasure.
How's their mic placement, Erika? Any notes?
Yep, hold it closer to your mouth.
Oh, God,
Okay, so between the two, so for our listeners, they're sharing a microphone. Whoever has the best mic technique, meaning can go back and forth. So,
who does more karaoke?
Cody just took charge there.
Giddy up.
Wow.
The man knows how to work a mic.
See, you got to get the mic on her mouth when she says stuff
Sorry.
like that.
Yeah, now it's going to... never mind. Pass.
The chemistry is already through the roof.
Jeez.
What brings you guys? What brings you to Toronto?
I went to the Florence and the Machine show at Budweiser Stage last night. Just a little... Oh my God! Just a little weekend rip in Toronto. Nice. And we decided to take the day off of work today just to do this. So,
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I'm very hungover, by the way.
Did you go to
I
Florence
had a
too?
shitty day. No, my best friend was in town last night, and
Where'd you end up?
Oh, geez. So I went to the Dakota Tavern. We went
Nice.
to Jack Astor's. It was all over the place.
Nice.
Yeah.
You had a
It's good,
Toronto
though.
night.
Yeah.
The day after, I noticed you're wearing, Cody, a Toronto Raptors shirt, like an old school one.
I wore it just for you, to be honest.
It's amazing. I fucking love it. It's so cool.
We actually watched the game at a Stag and Doe in Hamilton off of an older gentleman's cell phone. He had it held up like this, and there was about like 12 people all crowded around. So
I love that.
it was great.
The people like running the Stag and Doe were kind of pissed. They're like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you joining us at the game?
The wedding party kept coming back, being like, "There's games," and we're like, "There's a game right here."
You guys had a very Mike on Much Pod experience, like Hamilton, Toronto, Raptors, Florence and the Machine. Max was there
I was there
last
night too.
Yeah.
Are we just part of the team now, or
Pretty
what?
much.
Basically,
Well,
fit right in.
One of the reasons we really wanted to have you guys back is because of how good the segment went. Like, I know we were crushed that we lost all the audio from the card was corrupt or whatever, but it's because you guys were so funny. So we're glad to have you guys back now.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
It's very sweet to hear.
Okay, but here's the thing that's so weird about this. Erika, Max and I have not been in contact with Shane other than to know that he's sick. And Max didn't even know that. He came in, he's like, where's Shane? But from what I understand, he's been in contact with you.
Yep. We were chatting this morning on text, and then we had about a minute and 45-second phone call about 20 minutes ago.
You're ready to go.
Yeah, but he sent me 10 questions.
Does he actually sound sick?
No, he didn't sound that sick, actually.
You just hear a beach in the background. And like,
Yeah, so he did tell me that the grand prize for you guys is that we say your Instagram handles on the air.
Jesus Christ.
If you lose, we're not going to say the Instagram handles on the air, unfortunately.
Interesting.
And a winning score is 70%. So 7 questions
Shit.
out of 10 correct.
okay, so for our listeners, just so you know, the last time we called in, it was a dating game. I forgot to mention that off the top.
Yes.
Shane had set up a dating game for Bethan and Cody, and that's why it was so fun, because we basically just asked them questions that they had to answer right in order to pass our version, or Shane's version, of the dating game. So now Shane should be running this. He is a great game show host, but sadly, again, he is not here due to the sickness. Erika will be running the dating game. Host Erika.
Let's get
Erika's-
into it.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, shall we jump in?
Question number 1.
All right. Well, actually, first of all, so the way this is going to work is Bethan, you're going to answer the question. So Cody, you have to leave the room.
Wow.
See ya.
And you have to go far away. I don't know where you
This
can
is
go
legit.
here.
We
I
just
don't
hang
know.
out in the there's a little
Go
lobby
steal
area.
one of those Emmys.
But just make
Smell
sure
you
you
later.
can't hear us. So Bethan's going to answer the questions
Yeah,
with
we'll
Cody
get
out of
it.
the room. We're going to bring Cody back in, and Cody's going to answer the questions, and we're going to see
if we
if
got
your
the same
questions
answer.
match. If they
Cute.
match, you get 1 point.
This is legit.
Yeah, the 10th question is...
My heart is racing. I'm really ill prepared for this.
The 10th question, or sorry, there's an 11th question. It's the bonus question. It's worth 2 points.
God, okay.
When we get
And I
there.
need what percent?
70.
She's got to get 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
But the bonus might save her.
The bonus could save her, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I hope he's not cheating.
I don't
sure
think
he
so.
might.
I don't think he would. He's a pretty trustworthy guy.
Really?
Yeah.
How's the relationship been going?
How
It's
long-
honestly been great, guys.
How long have you been together?
4 months, like not long, but it's been.
I'm glad it stuck together. I was
it's
worried you
been
guys were going
good.
to be broke
I know,
up by the time
honestly,
you
same.
came
We
here.
were kind of like, should we just break up, like as a bit?
Just for the drama?
Yeah,
Shane
but like
would like
actually,
that.
let's just call it. But
So wait, so you guys met? You swiped on Tinder?
yes, he was like my first Tinder date.
Were you
First
his
and
first?
last. No.
Uh-oh.
Guys, we got to get to these questions. Let's go.
Okay, sorry. I'm so curious. Like, what were your bios? Like,
Yeah.
what were his pictures?
His bio was
can talk about
friends
it
call
later.
me Chode. So
Swipe right?
call him
yeah,
Chode.
yeah, yeah.
I know.
Okay.
What was I thinking?
Question number 1. What is the most times you've made whoopee in a single day?
I want to say 5.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you guys, how old are you guys?
What?
How old are you guys?
25 and 26.
Young energy.
Teenagers.
All right.
Oh shit!
All right,
Starting
5.
off strong, eh? Okay, let's
Number
do it.
2. This is a multiple choice
Oh
question.
my god.
Like the Howard Stern show.
Where
right now.
is Cody's favorite place to make whoopee? A, the bed. B, the backseat of a car. C, under the stars. Or D, you can't say it on the pod, winky face.
Winky face.
And he's gonna get these exact questions, right?
Absolutely.
Let's say the stars one. A little romantic.
Under the
Chode.
stars.
All
Yeah,
right.
Chode loves it
C.
under the stars.
C, under the stars. Cool. Question number 3. What is Cody's most annoying habit?
Oh god, he has really stinky feet. Like really. And he wears Toms. Come on.
Oh, no socks?
No.
Gross.
Never socks.
He's a cool looking dude, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was jealous
That
of that.
Those
too.
mutton chops? Is that what he has?
Yeah, that's why.
Cool.
Yeah, I messaged him first, and it was like, man, you have great style. You look like you're from the 70s.
He's got a cool vibe.
Yeah.
All right, question number 4, another multiple choice question. Who/what is louder when you are making whoopee with Cody?
Me.
Oh. Do you want to hear the options?
Oh. Sure. Yes. Okay.
A, Bethan. B, Cody. C, the Mike on Much podcast.
Oh, true.
Make love to this podcast. Yeah.
We go I try to match the volume of the Mike on Much podcast, but I'll still say me.
Okay, so A, Bethan.
This is
Marks it down.
brutal.
This is awesome.
I'm really glad Shane's not here, though. If he was asking these.
All right. Question number 6, 50-50 question. Not including during whoopee, how many times have you told each other I love you? A, over 50, or B, under than 50?
Under than?
Less than.
Less than 50.
I guess A.
More than 50.
Yeah.
Over 50?
I know.
Man.
4
You
months?
can get into
I
a rhythm
know.
of saying I love you.
Damn.
Like,
I know.
You
You can.
It was
Especially
just-
it feels so
especially
good.
when you're
Once it
making love
starts-
5 times a day. You know, you're gonna say I love you a lot.
We don't make love, we make whoopee,
Oh,
Mike.
my bad. Sorry. Well, under the stars is love, I would think.
If Cody robbed a bank and in the process he had to murder the bank teller, would you keep it a secret? Keep in mind, he donated all the money to charity.
Okay, so I see no profit from the bank.
Guess not, it all went to charity.
But I guess charity. But
I think it's-
murder?
Yeah.
No, I'd go along with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
No,
I cannot wait to hear his
I know.
answers.
Am I in the room when he answers?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
It's good. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just can't tip
Yeah,
him
you
off.
can't-
Okay.
Yeah. All right. What is Cody's middle name?
Thomas.
That's why he wears the Toms.
He got mine wrong during the first recording of this, though.
He'll know better.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right. Next question. Do you see yourself getting married to Cody, or is it too early to say?
Wow, Shane.
Man.
4 months. It's been 4 months.
It's been several months. It's been. Oh fuck. You know what? Let's say sure. Let's just go for
Love
it.
a
It's a
nice,
hard-hitting
confident
question.
It
Hard-hitting
is,
question.
yeah.
But
It's
she
been
would-
hot and heavy, you know? Let's just keep this train rolling.
She'd keep a murder secret. I think she's down for the wedding.
If Max wasn't in a band and all things were equal, who would Cody say is the coolest male member of Mike on Much?
I think Cody's gonna say Mike.
Yeah, I could see that.
He is
Yeah.
wearing a Raptor shirt today.
Yeah.
for
He did wanna
me. I
impress you.
appreciated that.
He does want to impress you.
Oh.
He's like, I hope Mike really likes my shirt. I hope he wants to buy it off my back.
I actually contemplated it, man. If I wasn't spending so much on fucking Raptors tickets.
He's gonna be pissed. I just.
Well, I'm
You
a
lost
fan
him
of
like
Cody.
$5. He's making a profit on it.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's probably from
Yeah.
98.
All right, next question. They say love conquers all. Who conquers the bedroom during whoopee?
During whoopee. He'll say me, but I say him, but he'll say me.
So what's your answer?
Him. Wait,
No.
me.
Yeah.
Me, but I think he does, but I know he's gonna say me. Actually, he could surprise me and say himself. We'll see, but I'm saying, yeah, say me.
Great.
Shane.
All right, next question.
Are-
So this is question 11.
Okay.
Oh, this is the bonus question.
No, he added one extra
Oh, okay.
because of the number mix.
Hey, he's sick. Let's cut him
It's
some
okay.
slack. He's delirious.
They say love is blind. Who would Cody say is better looking, Mike or Max?
Classic Shane.
Let's say Max. You've got a bit of
Wow.
a golden tan right now, head to toe Levi's. Not a bad look.
He also did not break eye contact with you while you were deciding. I noticed.
I felt
Max
really-
really tried to do the deep look.
Really pressured into that one.
That's true. He has nice light eyes, but I was like, wow, he's really going for it. He wants
Max
to win
actually
this.
paid me $100 before we came in here, so.
Exactly.
Okay, last question, the bonus question. It's worth 2 points.
Okay.
What was the worst date with Cody?
Actually, for one of the Raptors games, the one that went to double overtime, we were supposed to go out for dinner because we went to the casino the night before and Cody made some cheddar. So we were going to go spend
Nice.
it. And then the Raptors game was on, so we wanted to watch it. And then we stayed, and then the restaurant closed. And then we were pretty drunk. And then Ottawa goes to bed at 10 o'clock. And we couldn't find anywhere to eat. So we went home and got Uber Eats in bed. And it was still great. But leading up to the Uber Eats in bed was like really stressful and
Were you guys
annoying.
both getting hangry about it?
Oh, 100%. I was
Yeah.
being a real bitch.
You were turning on each other.
Raps
Yeah.
game.
That
Yeah,
happens.
and we were like drunk, and like the Raptors were. It was like great. Oh wait, did they lose?
They won.
They
it.
lost.
Yeah. The double overtime
Yeah?
in playoffs.
They won?
They did win that
Okay,
one.
so it was great. We were like, yeah, Raptors, let's go eat.
Yeah. No food.
All right, should I get?
All right, sounds good. Yeah.
We're gonna bring
here
Cody
we
back
go.
in here. This is all very exciting. Well, has Shane given you any instructions as far as like, are you gonna be playing music underneath some of these answers?
So I actually asked him. I said, "Who do you want to edit this, or do you want me to edit this?"
What'd he say?
He said, "I can edit this."
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Use so many obnoxious sound effects, please.
That's what he
Mostly like
said.
the boner noise.
yeah.
Cody, welcome back.
Hello.
We are pleased to have you right now. Or we bring the lights up a bit. Producer Max changing the vibe in here. Welcome back. Bethan has given us a lot of great answers. Yeah, you got to hit at that 70% mark. Erica, are you ready to take this thing back over?
I'm ready. So no cheating, you two. No weird eye contact, sort of blink twice for yes, blink once for no kind of thing, okay?
We don't do anything like that. It's okay.
Sure hope not. Okay. Cody, question number 1. What is the most times you've made whoopee in a single day?
Oh, 5?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
I remember that day.
Oh my God.
Did you forget? I'll not forget that day.
Yes.
1 point.
I also said 5.
Well, I know that.
From the response.
All right, next question is a multiple choice question. It is, where is Cody's favorite place to make whoopee? A, the bed, B, backseat of a car, C, under the stars, or D, can't say on the pod? Winky face.
Can't say on the pod. Final answer.
That's wrong. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Bethany thought
no.
it'd be under the stars.
Well, we've never done
But I
that.
thought you'd want it.
Of course. It's very dreamy. I would like, yeah. Who wouldn't?
She thought you were romantic. you know?
Well, damn.
It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Lots of questions left.
Yeah. All right. So Bethan had to answer this about you. What is Cody's most annoying habit?
Ooh. I would love a hint.
Should we give them a hint because
This one was tough too because she didn't necessarily give a habit.
Yeah.
She
I
almost
didn't
gave
think
a
this
trait.
was even a habit. This
Yeah.
is you can't control this, and so I feel bad.
Well, it could be sort of managed.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's powders
yeah, like a characteristic or something of yours.
and sprays.
I've got some stinky ass feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been wearing these Toms for too long.
Toms with no socks. Yeah, baby.
All right, giddy up.
She even complained about the Toms.
This is crazy. This is really good. Okay. All right. Another multiple choice question. Who/what is louder when you are making whoopee? A, Bethan. B, Cody. C, the Mike on Much podcast.
Bethan?
Yes.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Damn. You guys are in love. You weren't lying. All right. Number 5.
Lots of whippy talk here.
50-50 question.
Ooh.
So not including during whoopee, how many times have you told each other I love you? A, over 50. B, under 50.
A, over 50?
God.
Man.
Right?
man,
Ding,
Did I get
ding,
that right?
ding. Yeah, you did.
Okay. I didn't think. Maybe you were gonna fib and not make us seem in love. It's been over 50 for sure.
Max, when was the last time Lauren said she loved you?
Like 20 minutes ago.
That's really
Hey.
nice.
I was on the phone with her. Yeah.
That's good.
Um,
Should end every conversation that way.
It's nice.
Yeah.
yeah, but no judgment if you don't.
No, that's true. Hey, people, do your own thing. We can't all be making whoopee 5 times a day and saying I love you over 50 times. Under the stars. Yeah.
All right, next question. If Cody robbed a bank and in the process he had to murder a bank teller, would you keep it a secret? Keep in mind he donated all the money to charity.
So the question for you, Cody, is would Bethan keep your secret for you after you murdered a teller?
Oh well, geez. You'd still keep it a secret, I'd hope.
I did.
Okay.
Ding, ding, ding.
Man, oh
Answer.
man.
Love ya.
Number 51.
All right, next question. What is Cody's middle name?
Wait, he needs Bethan's middle name. He knows his own middle name. Imagine if he was like, I don't know. What is Bethan's middle name?
Claire, because Shane stumped me on this last time, and it's spelt. Oh, it's spelt weird though. Is it just Clare?
It is.
Wow.
Hey.
Man, that could be a bonus point. We'll see at the end. Dang, he got the spelling too.
I've only missed one, right?
Yeah, you've only missed one, and that was 7.
Perfect.
You guys are doing well. All right, the next question. Bethan answered this. Do you see yourself getting married to Cody, or is it too early to say?
So the answer would be, or the question would be to you, Cody. Do you
Yes.
see yourself?
Well,
No, do you see? Is Bethan down to marry you? Is that
Oh,
what you
that's
think?
the question. Good
Yeah.
way to frame that.
Yeah.
Is Bethan down to marry me?
Yeah, or is it too early for her to say?
Don't look at each other. Stop looking at each other.
No visual cues.
We were drunk. We've been drunk a few times and have dabbled with funny talk. So yes.
You guys are crazy.
This is awesome.
That's a little embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I felt really weird saying it.
Never felt that way before, though, with anybody. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow.
God.
Man, you guys are really inspired. I gotta go home and give my wife a kiss.
Yeah.
I love this shit.
Yeah.
Not anytime soon, though.
Marriage?
That's correct.
No rush?
No rush. No rush.
Put a wet blanket on that.
All right, next question. If Max wasn't in a band and all things were equal, who would Cody say is the coolest male member of Mike on Much?
Ooh. I think all you guys are cool.
No, but you gotta pick
Samson.
one.
Come on.
Well, I'll be honest. At first, I was a big fan of Shane because I thought he was very funny. And I hope he hears this. He's not as funny as he was.
Ooh, that's
Still funny.
That's
Cut
not
deep.
gonna sit well.
That's gonna
Not
cut
gonna
deep.
sit well. I
No.
can't wait
Well,
for Shane's editing
I was
this.
pretty sad to hear that he was sick today.
Yeah.
I like all you guys. I'll give it to Mike.
Once
Another
again, you got it
again.
right. Yo,
Did
up
you?
top, Cody. And by the way,
Booyah.
yeah, this shirt, I think you're pretty damn cool, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the mutton chop.
And I'm just joking, Shane, kind of.
I don't think that's gonna. Get
Okay,
you out
hold
of
on.
the
Now I
brother.
feel bad. I will say one thing. I didn't think I was going to like the Family Tree podcast. I listened to all 4 episodes.
Hey.
See, that's how you get yourself out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
fucking savvy move right there.
Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah. Let's, Erica, don't cut that part out.
Oh, I won't.
Yeah. About the
won't.
family tree. Yeah, we got to keep that plug in.
Definitely. All right, next question. They say love conquers all. Who conquers the bedroom during Whoopee?
Oh, dear. Well, Bethan's a little more of a dirtier talker. So does that mean you conquer? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I conquer, do I?
We need a final answer.
No, that's.
Oh, this guy right here, old chode. Eh?
Bethan.
I said that I think you do, but I thought that you.
I would say you?
Yeah.
See, okay. Well. Yep.
All right.
When
God, you're learning a
when
lot
you
about
both
our
have, when you
sex
both
life.
have control at different times, that's a good thing, right? It's got to be equitable.
We had sex in a hotel for the first time yesterday. That was sweet.
That's cool.
That's awesome. You don't have to do any laundry. Sheets ain't your problem.
TMI or what? I don't know.
All right, moving on. They say love is blind. Who would Cody say is better looking, Mike or Max?
Max.
Wow, you
Ding,
could have
ding,
waited
ding.
like a beat longer.
Honestly, when I was
Give
standing
it a
out
good
there,
30 seconds, just so you don't
when
crush
I was
me
out
so
of the room,
quickly.
I was actually, fuck, Max is really handsome.
Wow, thank you.
So-
Well, that's the answer.
When Bethan was answering, Max stared deeply into her eyes to help sway the decision.
Yeah. Beth had probably melted into a puddle.
No, I felt very pressured. So.
It's cool, guys.
That's funny.
I'm fine with being the cool
You're
guy.
good looking, Mike.
Oh, I wasn't doing it to get a
I
compliment.
think you should.
but
I
will
think you
take
should
that
grow
with
your
me.
hair again, though.
Oh, well, yeah, you got the great flow right now. For those of you that can't see, Cody's
We're
got
gonna post
long
a
locks.
cool photo of you
Yeah, we're
guys.
gonna have some
Ooh.
good stuff.
Yeah. All right, this is the bonus question. It's worth 2 points. Not that you need it. You guys already won. You're going to have your Insta handles
Oh, what a dream!
out on here.
So they've already won.
Oh, yeah, they're well over 70%,
They're
even if they
killing
get this
it, man.
wrong.
This is crazy. Also, like Shane needed to come up with a better gift than just their Insta handles. Like we should.
I think it's a good one.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Shane
think-
wanted me to, maybe I didn't do this, he wanted me to really communicate how much of a honor that would be.
Right.
Like, he thinks that's, like, the present that could trump all.
He
The
really
prize
loves
that would trump
Instagram.
all.
All right.
Yeah. That matters a lot more to Shane than it does to us, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, after I said my Insta name on here, the next day I got like 2 followers.
I'm kind of sad
That was it. We've climbed up slightly since then, but
Shane
not by
doesn't
much.
follow me back on Instagram. That kind of bothers
What?
me.
Oh,
You know what?
that
I'm gonna
sounds like
follow
a pretty
I'm gonna
good
follow you both
prize.
after today because now we're friends. We've been
Thank
in
you,
the room.
sir.
I still. Well, I need to hear the Insta follow thing
Right.
first.
Oh,
But
we'll
let's see this
we'll
last
wait
question.
to divulge.
Bonus question.
So bonus question, what was your worst date?
Well, did it take you a while to think?
Sort of.
Jeez, I literally don't know.
They've all been great, eh?
Hint? Oh, like going back to a party at my house and my ex was there?
Whoa!
That was a shitty
That
time.
also was not chill.
That sucked.
Yeah, it did suck.
Oh, of course. Uncomfortable. How'd you handle it, Bethan? Seriously.
I was pretty drunk, And I was trying to be like, whatever.
Yeah, like I don't mind.
But then we went up to his roommates and smoked weed and watched old wrestling videos. So I had a great night.
I asked her to leave, and she did not leave.
Really?
Yeah.
You asked the ex-girlfriend to leave.
And she wouldn't leave.
She just loves
Wow.
wrestling videos that much? Or?
She wasn't watching wrestling.
Oh,
Come on.
she stayed downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
You guys had
That
your
was
own.
the exclusive after party.
Ah.
Weed and wrestling.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you asked the ex to leave, and
Yeah,
she just
and
says no.
She did not leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not cool. You're way cooler than her.
Yeah, big time.
God, imagine if she hears this, she'll be crushed.
Hey, man, still a bad date, but ultimately the wrong
Okay,
answer.
I was wrong. So we missed
Wrong
out the
answer.
bonus points. What was our bad date?
Well, to be honest, this sounded like a great evening to me. Uber Eats in bed?
No, it was when we were watching the Raptors and our
Double
dinner
overtime.
plans got fucked and I was super hangry and pissed.
That's why Ottawa sucks. Nothing's open past 11.
That's what she
She
said.
said everything
Everyone
closes at
at
11.
10 o'clock.
So when are you guys going to be back in Toronto?
For the whole Arkell
Yay!
Oh, really?
Oh, but is Shane gonna be? Are you guys gonna be here for that?
We're going
Did
to
you guys go to a wedding?
Yes, so
Yeah,
they're
we're going
yeah,
to
the
a bachelor
party.
trip in
Hey,
New York.
want to work a Mike on Much stand with me? We can sell some merch.
Hey.
Ooh.
Is that actually
Yo,
in play?
this episode might blow up, and people want to meet you at the
Hey.
Mike on Much.
That
booth
is true.
with Erika.
True.
Yeah, I'm down
post
to
stuff.
sell some Mike on Much merch at the show.
Just
Sick.
out of a trunk in the lot?
$5, we can give you some
Yeah, you should do it in
relationship
the parking
advice.
lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like
You know
with
what?
Oh, in
You
the
guys-
parking lot?
Yeah, with
like,
the knockoffs.
out of my
you guys want
like
some
the trunk
mom
of my
hats
car.
and stuff?
Can I have
Some
one?
floppy
I would love a
hats?
mom
Yeah,
hat.
you don't have one yet, Erika?
Like a sweater.
Oh, man.
All right, we need to wrap this up, guys.
We do.
Yeah.
So you guys got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'll give you 1 extra point on the bonus question. You got 10 out of 10 out of 11.
Woohoo! Good job.
That's when you have to insert the applause.
Should
with
we
the crowd
kiss?
noise.
Yep.
Make it loud on the mic.
No, in the mic.
Hit it in the mic.
All right, give the Insta handles. That should have been where the
Oh,
music
yeah,
came in.
yeah.
but
Yeah,
Put your
Instagram.
Insta handles.
Give us to him. Give
What
them to
is
us.
Mine is Cody Parn. CODYPARN.
We'll post this online too.
Yeah,
Booyah.
we'll at you guys.
My phone's really slow.
You don't know you're on Instagram.
Now I forget it. It is Bethan290. BETHAN 290.
Cool.
Sweet.
That's all
This
she
was fun.
wrote.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you guys. Thanks for taking the day
Love
off
is
work.
alive and well, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You two need to start a podcast. That's it. That's all. That's our episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Cody and Bethan for coming on, playing the dating game. Thank you to Virginia Hanlon Grohl for coming on and talking to us. Thank you to Erika for hosting the dating game. It was a great job, Erika. You can jump in there.
Woo. That was fun.
Yeah, you killed it.
Thanks,
Great
Shane,
job.
for being sick and giving me this incredible opportunity.
Get well soon, Shane. We missed you. The Mike on Much podcast is produced by Max Kerman. I'm your host, Mike Dillon. See you next week if we don't die on the weekend.
Mike on Much can be found on Twitter and Instagram at Mike on Much. You can subscribe to the show on any platform that has podcasts, Spotify. Do it.